Alright, hello! Alright, so yeah, a lot of people were really mad, like overly mad about, the video that I put out, where I'm just, you know, yapping for like 30 minutes, and they're like, you know, like blowing a gasket about that or whatever. So first off, you know, I primarily PvP, especially when there's no PvE content. I don't have that much PvP gear because I haven't even been PvPing that much. I've been doing some battlegrounds, but like, you know, it's like I queue for solo arena or whatever, solo queue, and then it just takes 30 minutes in queue, and then it puts me in against people who are 2K rating, fully geared, and I'm just like, great, you know, I can't even enjoy rated PvP, which is the thing I enjoy the most. Although solo queue is a little scuffed, it was always scuffed in Dragonflight 2. But let me get like right here. I think that's a better spot. So I'm just gonna, you know, just you know, it's like, all right, hey, what's going on with this guy who's just, he hates the game. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He hasn't given it a chance. It's like, what's my slash played? So my total time played is 235 days, 16 hours. And my time played this level, almost 3 days here. 2 days, 23 hours, okay? That's play time, right? That's a lot of time. And you're telling me, in that amount of time that I've been level 80, I haven't been on enough to know if the game's good or bad? How long do I have to be on for before I can figure it out? You know? When do I get it? What's the threshold? 1,000 hours at this level, and then suddenly I can, you know, my opinion is valid. Like, you know, yeah, like, give me a break. You know, you don't need to put 100 hours into something to see if it's good or bad. You know, and I can just tell you, yeah, like everything I said, I stand by. I didn't necessarily go super in depth with anything, and the reason is because I tried to condense what I was saying and keep it as short as possible, because I could go super in depth and I would talk for like 2 hours, you know, but no one's gonna watch a 2-hour video. I was surprised anyone watched that video, alright? But like, you know, I'm not some big YouTuber guy, I'm just some dude, alright? So I'm not putting a video out thinking like, yeah, people are gonna love this, but I still try to like be somewhat considerate and be like, okay, well, let's not do 2 hours, you know, of ranting. Let's try to condense it, because I like intentionally just tried not to talk about any other expansions as much as possible. Tried to stay on topic, you know, and I kind of went off a little bit and kind of ramble about some other things. But you know what? That's just how it goes. I don't have a script. You're getting it raw. This is raw. All right. This is straight from the brain into the mic, you know? But no, like, yeah, no, like, what are people even yapping about with this? Like, they're like, oh, wow. Mythic Plus is not a new feature. Mythic Plus came out in, like, Legion. So if you enjoy Mythic Plus, that's great. You're allowed to enjoy Mythic Plus, but you can't attribute Mythic Plus as a feature of this expansion, especially when Mythic Plus isn't like most of the dungeons that you do for that aren't even from this expansion. You know, you could say, well, it feels good, it feels better this time than last expansion, but that doesn't make it new. That doesn't make it a feature of this expansion. There are no features of this expansion. You've got delves. You've got, that's it. You know, the warband thing. Like, who cares about warbands? Like, okay, I've got 5 characters on my login screen, and I can, like, send certain gear to them. Okay. That's, you know, that's not, like, blowing my dick in half, you know? You know, it's just like, I just don't get it, right? Like, I don't really understand what people are trying to defend here. Because I spent, you know, what was this, $50 on that expansion, and it feels like I got swindled. It feels like some guy talked me into buying this, like, $50 thing, and then I get it, and take it home, and then it falls apart into pieces because it's just like a, it's like a fake, you know, it's cheap, it sucks, you know? This expansion, feels like a sandwich, and, you know, it's just 2 pieces of bread, and that's it, you know? So I mean, it's crazy to me that people are gonna defend it and get all mad at me or whatever. Because yeah, like what's the new content? What am I not understanding? What is it? Where's the what's the content? Like, is it this? Is that the new content? What about, is it this? 800 gold? Is that the new content? 800 gold again? Is that the new content? Like, where is it? What's the new feature? Delves. Okay. What happens if you don't like delves? What then? What's the new content? New! Because here's the thing, if it's not new content, they may as well have ended the game in Dragonflight and said, okay guys, we're just gonna keep the servers open, we're not gonna add any new content, it's over, but you know, you can keep playing. And you know what that means? You could still do battlegrounds, you could still do arenas, you could still do raids, you could still do Mythic Plus, you could still do all of those things. Those are the only things people are saying is like, oh no, those are the best things, you know, that's all the best content from this expansion. But you could always do those things. You could already do them. Okay? They're the same. Right? So what's the content? Because here's the thing, I love Legion, alright? I'm a big Legion fan. Legion's like the best expansion ever. I'd say ever. It's at least my personal favorite, and I'm talking better than Burning Crusade, better than Wrath. Okay? That's Legion, right? And that's a relatively new expansion, you know, in my eyes. So it's like, you know, it's not just I hate everything, you know, yada yada or whatever, but like, Legion was so good because, okay, PvP sucked in Legion because they added stat templates, and that really made PvP just terrible. Like, it was actually the worst PvP it had ever been. But Legion was so good that it, like, made up for it. And there was so much to do in Legion. Like, so much, like, you know, like, the whole, I don't even remember what they're called, but, you know, the quest line, the Falinar, I don't know, like, that thing I enjoyed. It was, like, kind of fun, you know. This whole Suramar quest line in general was pretty cool. You know, all the zones had their individual stories and themes, and they were all really cool. Stormheim was my favorite. I would always go Stormheim first, and guess what? You know, World Quests, that was a Legion feature. That was introduced in Legion. And then not only that, but down here, you've got these things where you do, like, the 4 of them, and then you unlock this thing, and you know, that's great, you know, that's just the motivation to get you to do that. Guess what? That's not, oh, I'm not even in the new zone, but that's not a thing in this, you know? And then it's like, okay, you know, all the zones are cool, you know, they got the world quests, right? You had, like, secrets, too, like, this is when they started adding, like, those secret things, like the mine, what's it called? The hive mind mount, right? And then of course you had the Clash Fantasy, you know, the Clash Fantasy was at its peak in Legion, and not only that, but like, you know, the artifact weapons in general were content. They were really cool, you know, you'd get like, you could get these like appearances, let me just see, where is that, you know, it's like this shit looked amazing. They were like hidden artifact appearances. There's different ones like PvP, PvE, all that stuff, whatever, you know, and you had the different variants, and then you'd be like, oh, I want that color because like, oh, I like that, and then you go get it, and like it would get you out there doing it for a purpose, right? And yeah. Like, and then the progression of the artifact weapons where, you know, it had its own talent tree, that was really cool, and you felt like you were actually getting stronger, and it was great, and, you know, then just the whole theme of it. Like, there's the story behind the artifact weapons, right? And that was super cool. Every class had, like, a unique thing, except for a few that were recycled, like the Karazhan thing, right? A few classes had, like, the same thing, basically. But a lot of them didn't, you know, most of them didn't, right? And then it's like, okay, and then the order hall, right? You had this order hall, you had to get there, and you get there, and it's great, it's this whole thing, it's like garrisons, what garrisons should have been, right? It's like, there it is, they nailed it, it's perfect, right? And then, you know, whatever else that I'm forgetting, like the Legion invasions, right? Where you go and, like, you do the stuff, it's just more content. And then there's rewards from it that actually matter, like this, the Wrathblade. I was farming this shit for years, and then I got it, you know? I'm actually using it right now in this transmog I have. And look at this transmog, by the way. Like, ready for this? So it's like, here it is, looks great, right? And then I got that bag, and then, whoop, I pull my swords out of the bag, you know, and there they are. There's the Wrathblades. I always wanted to make a transmog with these swords, and I never could. And then, here we go. Now I've got it. It, like, works really nicely. I like it. Because they're, like, too big. They, like, actually, like, clip, like, crazy through the floor otherwise. And that's why I like the bag here. Like, actually, if you see. Yeah. So it's like, yeah. But there was so much content. That's just the stuff I'm thinking of off the top of my head. And then that's not to even mention the patch content, which was like, okay, here's Argus, you know, you get all these areas, which, you know, there's a ton of stuff to farm, you know, and that's pretty cool, I guess. I don't know, it's fine, right? You know, the Dalaran city here, it's Dalaran, you can't go wrong with it, but it was still pretty cool, regardless of it just being Dalaran. Like, it was interesting, it was more functional, like the, you know, the under part of the city was, like, more interesting, and then, of course, you had all the... Jeez. Yeah, anyways. You get what I'm saying? Like, Legion was peak. Legion was the peak. Right? And I've got, as we've already seen here, 235 days playtime. I've been around the goddamn block, and I can tell when something's good and when something's not. Alright? Now, just because I say this current expansion is bad doesn't mean you're not allowed to enjoy it. It doesn't mean you're not allowed to have fun. If you really like Mythic Plus, that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to like Mythic Plus. If you're having fun doing Mythic Plus, then great. But all I'm saying is that's not a feature of this expansion, right? And a lot of the things that people are saying, like, oh, this is this and that, it's like, those aren't from this expansion, right? And I just listed out in Legion, all those things I just listed and talked about in Legion were new. New. I didn't say, oh, it had raids. We've always had raids. It had dungeons. Yeah, they were really good dungeons and really good raids, and they had a lot of raids even. If you look, like, now they're doing the, you know, the Warlords of Draenor thing where they only do like 3 total raids. Right? The thing that they got criticized for the most in Warlords of Draenor. But, like, Legion didn't do that, right? You got, like, a shitload of raids. It's great. But I didn't even talk about that because raids always exist, you know? I'm just looking at the new features, what's new. Otherwise, you're just playing the same thing. And yeah, the reason I'm making the video is because I resubbed. I resubbed to get the tier 2 set, the remastered set, and then, you know, I decided, you know what, I'll just buy the game, fuck it. And then I did that, and then I realized, wow, that was a huge waste of money, you know? And that's why I'm talking about it, making the videos or whatever, because I shouldn't. I didn't want to play. I didn't want to have it. They've reeled me in with the tier 2 set. It looks really good. Love it. You know, it looks great. Do I have it? Like, there it is. You know, I love it. You know, it's great. Okay? I couldn't possibly just sit idly, you know, and just be like, oh, it's fine. I'll let this pass. You know, I'll let this pass by me. No. Of course I'm gonna go and get this. You know? And then, yeah, I fucking bought the expansion, and then, you know, I saw firsthand, it really sucked. And I understand why people like Asmongold quit, people like Quinn69 quit, right? People who would normally love the game and play the game, they all quit within the first fucking few weeks. I've given it more of a chance than they have, and I'm getting criticized for not giving it a chance. I've been giving it a chance. I've been giving it a chance for fucking 16 years. Like, what do you want from me? Alright? Like, come on. I spent more than half my life playing this game, you know? And I think Blizzard could do better, but Blizzard is just, they're just, I mean, I could make a whole video talking just about Blizzard and how they've completely lost their minds. They've lost everything, their touch, like everything. Like, look at the Diablo 4 team. Look at how they did Diablo 4. Look what they did with that. That tells you everything you need to know about Blizzard, alright? D4 bad, alright? And that's disappointing, because Diablo 4 was supposed to be, like, the game. You know, that was going to be my game. And then it's just not, because they just can't make games, right? They don't develop games properly. And it's ever since that lawsuit thing, it's like they kicked out all the developers, they brought in a bunch of DEI fucking people, and then they're like, okay, we need to try really hard to make sure to completely distance ourselves from what old Blizzard was, and we'll go so far in the other direction that we completely lose sight of what is important in game design, and that's game design. Not making it safe and inclusive and, you know, and having shitty humor injected into it. No, we're talking like, where's the gameplay? Where's the stuff? Where's the content? Alright? That's all I'm saying. Yeah, how long was this one? Hey, 15 minutes. You know, if you can get through 15 minutes of this, you know, good job. Like, honestly. Like, I'm not some special guy who, you know, is like popular. I don't expect people to listen to me, alright? I don't. I'm just, it's called getting shit off your chest. It's called shouting into the void. It's just, unfortunately, this time, I shouted into the void and some voices fucking spoke back to me, you know? And it's like, oh, was not expecting that. And you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna just put this in here, alright? I spent months making that classic WoW experience video. If you see it on my channel, it's got the South Park thing on the thumbnail. It's so good. It's pristine. It's pristine. Like, it's the best thing I've ever done. It's the only thing I've ever done where I've put effort into it, right? In terms of YouTube videos. Because my whole thing is I don't put effort into the YouTube videos, alright? But that one I did. And it only got like 2,000 views, alright? I was expecting like 30,000 minimum. And it's like, then all I do the other day is just sit around in Dornegal or whatever the hell it's called and yap about how much I hate the game. And then it's just like, wow, look at that, it's popping off. It's like even more popular. It's on track to being like a bigger video than the thing I spent months working on. And you can look at the detail on that video. It's so detailed. Like, you can pause that video frame by frame and you'll see details. You know, you'll see things like moving frame by frame. You know? And like, there are little things like about it that I put a lot of work into that video. And also it got copyrighted too by like Paramount, which is just like, oh great, that's cool. Like, I tried doing like an appeal. I'm like, hey, this is clearly like, you know, it's like a whole problem with YouTube. It's been a problem for like years and years, where it's like, even though it's transformative content, right, they still just don't protect you, right? But point is, you know, I made a little lazy video of me yapping, and then it's just everyone loses their minds. Relax, alright? I'm telling you, this expansion is a piece of garbage, okay? But that means you can still play it. You can still enjoy it. That's fine. I'm just saying it's garbage. You know, there's people who would say Warlords of Draenor was their favorite, that Shadowlands was their favorite, and BFA was their favorite. There are people who say, I loved what they did with Sylvanas. Oh, that was my favorite. I loved how they did all that cool stuff with her. You know, I'm sure there's somebody who thinks that, right? And I don't know if I mentioned that in the video because I did a few takes to try to shorten it, but like, Sylvanas was my favorite character, alright? And you know what? There's more to an MMO than just, you know, PvP and PvE. There's a story, you know? There's writing. And the writing was so bad that, like, it was just a joke. Like, it was a complete joke. Blizzard writers, you know? But, like, they ruined, like, some of my favorite things just because they don't know how to write a story. And you know what game has a really good story? Final Fantasy XIV. Like, that game, like, unbelievable. Like, if you play that just for the story, you'll have a great time. Like, it'll be your favorite story in any game. You know, it's not necessarily, it's a different type of MMO, right? It's not like, you know, like, it's like, WoW is more competitive in spirit, I guess. You know? So if you're trying to, like, push the meters, do big damage, be the best, it's like Final Fantasy XIV is kind of, like, not great for that, you know? But it's got a great story. Alright? What's the story in this expansion? It's like, there's dwarves. I don't even remember how we got there. Like, we took a portal or something? Like, okay. And there's dwarves, and then there's spiders. Alright. Yeah. That's the story. Alright, great. So, here's the thing, though. Alright, I'm gonna try not to criticize it. Okay? I've only played the game for 16 years. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, you know, if you played it, if you played every second of the last few expansions, I mean, that's your thing. All right. Most people didn't. Most people agree that it's not been good. Okay. And it's just, unfortunately, those people are gone. So their voices are silent because they're gone. I happen to be here. I happen to come back, and now I'm voicing, you know, what all the things I'm saying, you know, whatever. Point is, no time lost. Proto Drake did not get it in the video. Unfortunate, did not get it. Probably will never get it because, you know, it's not exactly easy to get. I'm gonna go play the RuneScape League. All right, having a great time with that. It's a good league, and you know, I streamed it. Some guy came in actually from the video, and he's like, "Oh, hey, you know," I didn't see his message in time. Like, I mean, I saw it like a few minutes later, but he's already gone. That's the problem when you're a small guy, like a small streamer, small video guy. It's like sometimes, you know, like one person comes in and you just don't even notice. But you know, hey. Enjoy the game if you're enjoying it, alright? Love it if you love it, alright? It could be your favorite game, that's totally fine. People are loving Dragon Age Veilguard. Not a lot of people, but some people are. So it's your thing. I'm just a guy who's giving an opinion and has a lot of experience and is totally right completely. But like, don't worry about that, alright? Do your thing, alright? I'm gonna go play RuneScape.